Chapter 1 te tonan persant te perfect facade. In the spring of 1856, Boston was a city of contrast. Te cobledstreets echoed with the usle of commerce, and te arbutzed with the excitement of newfound prosperity. It was a time when society flaunted its way alt, and te uppere chelons built grandiose mansions stat towered over the landscape, echo in the dreams of tose wo inhabited them. One such structure was the Whitmore Mansion, a spectacular edifice that attracted the eyes of passersby and the envy of the envious. Residing in the mansion was the Whitmore family. Charles the Patriarch, canon for his shrewd business acumen, his wife Margaret a graceful matriarch, and their 3 children Evelyn the eldest daughter, Henry the ambitious son, and John Clara, who was adored yet often overlooked. Although the Whitmores exuded an aura of perfection, a symbol of high society, rumors travelled through Boston like whispers in the wind. Within the community, subtle seconds of unrest buzzed around the Whitmore household. It was said that the children rarely played in the expansive gardens that surrounded their home, and the illustrious dinner parties hosted by Charles and Margaret did little to unify their family. Neighbors would often remark on their aloofness. "You think with such a fine home, they'd share it more, all the merriest." Thompson observed as she tended to her flowers. Yet none dared per griega to the epli. The Whitmores had embedded themselves in the fabric of Boston society to firmly fort that. However, as the days unfolded, cracks began to show behind their well-curated facade. Latenic discussions, punctuated by raised voices, drifted through the estates ornate windows. The whispers grew more concerning with each passing night. Clara, the youngest, was seen frequently wandering alone. Ergase would drift toward the darkened corners of the mansion, filled with secret places untouched by her siblings. It was during these moments of isolation that the idea of rats entered the minds of those who watched from afar, not literal rats, but the metaphorical kind. Speculation arose that something uninvited was gnawing at the Whitmore family's carefully constructed lives, creeping through their home like vermin in the night. The story took a more sinister turn on a particularly stormy night. Evelyn had returned from a visit to a friend, her expression distant, as if carrying a weight to a before a hurl of herage. "It's nothing, just a storm," she murmured, bruising past her motor, a thin veil of apprehension double wrapping around the air. Then, in used tones, she and Henry would retreat to their shared quarters, would lead to heter as if shielding themselves from unseen threats lurking just beyond their door. As spring and summer merged into one, their summer soirees lost their luster, left floundering under the weight of lingering silence. The mansion hosted fewer guests, until lauter that once warmed the eyes had turned brittle. On evening, a dinner guest turned to Margaret, is in Kirilla said with amusement, "WHY are your children so distant? Their like shadows flitting about your grand home." Margaret smiled tightly, her voice betraying a churning unease, or their simply absorbed in their own pursuits, but behind closed doors, the truth was far from the placid surface she portrayed. In the dark, quiet corners, Clara's whispers transformed into a mantra echoing her fears. The rats never left the dining room. The adult world appeared oblivious, but for those living within the ornate, gilded walls of the Whitmore mansion, something wicked lingered just below the skin. Chapter 2 The cracks appear. Summer turned to fall, and there grew a heavy with tension in the Whitmore household. The city outside continued to buzz with activity, but inside the mansion, the silence was anything but serene. Rumors about the children had morphed into used discussions in drawing rooms across Boston, ave yo heard. They hardly say each other anymore, mrs. Harrington whispered, her voice barely above the sound of clinking china. Evelyn found herself thrust into the role of caretaker, though she was only 13. It was while attending to Clara that she discovered her younger sister confiding in the dark corners of their vast home. Clara spent hours cannelling in front of a hidden compartment in the wall, speaking to what she insisted were friends living just behind the plaster. "What they, Clara?" Evelyn asked on evening, her curiosity picking despite her dread. "They come out when the house is quiet. They tell me secrets," Clara replied, her eyes bright with a mix of fear and excitement. Intrigued but unsettled, Evelyn's attention began to flicker toward a more alarming reality. They turned to weeks and son, Henry, once a vibrant boy full of dreams, began retreating into a world of self-imposed isolation. His spirit dimmed each day, his laughter replaced by brooding silence. During this time, Margaret had begun noticing the fading leaked within her family. The warmth that had once filled her home now seemed swallowed by an unseen entity. Diner table stat shold avevem fillet wit vibrant conversation echoed only teclatter of cutlery. Wemus dos ometting forte children, sheurhed Charles on evening, concernet che diner features. Let them sort themselves out, Charles replied dismissively, it's just adolescence. Not long after MRS. Thompson across the street reported saying Henry lurking around late at night, ante whispering rumors of darker deeds began to circulate like wildfire. Aside something about finding the rat then, MRS. Thompson recounted at the local can-eating circle. The notion of the rat then sent shivers down Evelyn's spine. She overheard conversations of friends at school, Henry would wander off at odd hours, returning disheveled and with a jet, as if he had seen something unfathomable. On a night, the mansion shook under the weight of a tremendous storm. Lightning cast sinister shadows, illuminating the disarray within. Evelyn sat in her room, a heart pounding as Clara's whispered words resonated like a chilling echo. The rats never left the dining room. Compelled vidread, she crept down the creaking staircase, curiosity propelling her forward. In the dim light, she could make out the silhouettes of her family gathered in the dining room. Peering through the slightly ajar door, she froze at the sight of her brother's animated yet haunted faces. Henry agitatedly explained his latest venture into the basement. It's real, Joe ave to believe me, his voice in head with desperation, I heard them the rats. They have a nest down there. It's not just rodents, it's something else. Evelyn leaned in closer, heart racing. The macabre undertones sent cheese up her spine. The adult's talk is climbs lightly, but she no longer felt the warmth of security double wrap around her. Instead it morphed into an unsettling recognition that there, in the depths of their home, the lingering shadows were growing ito real. As the evening dragged on, secrets clawed the appear into the spaces of Whitmore Mansion. Amid the echoes of laughter and denial, Clara's chant grew heavier. From the depths of isolation, a darkness awaited, a heard to reveal itself, opening doors into a sordid past that remained buried in silence. Chapter 3 The Breaking Point. As fa transitioned into the harsher months of winter, the bricks of the Whitmore Mansion began to close in on its inhabitants. Shadows clutching at corners grew long, and the old was swallowed by whispers that echoed in a very way. The tension finale reached a tipping point during a particularly bitter night in December. On that evening, the snow-covered streets of Boston faded into a hazy backdrop. Their old sat shrouded beneath a thick blanket of silence. Throughout the expansive rooms of the mansion, the members of the Whitmore family found themselves divided by wise thicker than stone. It was Clara, tinged with the innocence of youth and alarming darkness, who would set forth the events that would unravel their fragile existence. Her neatly escapades had persisted, fue led by a desire to seek the revelations promised by the ominous whispers. The rats want to meet us, Evelyn. They want us to see, she called out into the oyo chambers of their home. Not long after, Clara's craze spiraled into obsession. Her nightly excursions to Oak the appear into the underbelly of their grand estate, a basement long thought forgotten. Despite Evelyn's pleas for her to stay away, Clara raced down the cracking staircase, nearly hypnotized by invisible forces calling to her. That night, Henry decided he could no longer bear the haunting lullaby speaking from their sister. We have to follow her, he insisted with a wild look in his eyes, igniting the old fire of determination that burned within them. His mind raced with the memories of whispers and madness. We can't let her go alone. Evelyn, a heart pounding in her chest, nodded alongside Henry, forming an unlikely alliance. Together, they followed Clara's path through the interlocking darkness that held secrets too replete to comprehend. The house seemed alive, breathing with a very creak and moan, as if it could sense the echoes of the past tracing their footsteps. As they neared the basement door, dread double rapped around their hearts like a vise. Shadows danced on the wise, ignited by flickering candlelight that spilled from below. What awaited them beckoned with chilling certainty. Pushing the door open, the sight stole their breath away. Clara stood in a small circle surrounded by candles, murmuring to the floor with a fervor that made the hairs on Evelyn's neck stand up. And there, in the dark corners of the basement, she was not alone. Clara, Evelyn shouted, but the words barely escaped her lips, lost within the cacophony of stained memories. Clara whirled around, eyes wild, tave ben waiting. Before they could comprehend the scene unfolding, Clara darted further into the depths, her laughter ringing oyó amidst the shadows that congregated around them. Henry acted before the thoughts had a chance to settle, pursuing her the appear into the mouth of the spire. Clara come back, e yeyed panic lasing is voice. The darkness consumed tem, wrapping around like achieving embrace until te, made teir wide per into te vegi of the mansion. Shadows pered at tem, taking form in te flickering light, whispering truths long concealed. As they turned a corner, te sigged frose tem in place. A group of children, faces pale with eccentric charm, overhead like ghosts, their eyes glimmering with secrets. Enristod aghast, the darkness unfurling with an ancient healosi, a haunting melody of desperation. El pus on a child cried te facete wisting in grief, taike pusere. Evelyn felt art racias memories flickered like old film rails. What keeps yo, she managed to ask, desperation surging. They never left, they responded in unison, voices intertwining in a haunting chorus. Ficting terror rising in her throat, Evelyn reached out, when ed to go we can help yo. But their players morphed into an otherworldly echo, no longer words, but a cacophony of despair that merged into a singular note of fate. Clara spinning in a euphoric dance, lauged freely hoium fettered. Tis place tis darkness, ad un bailed sommeting only she cold ever ope to understand. The breaking point approached, a culmination of fear secrets, and trial stat reached deep into the heart of the Whitmore family. Within the wise of their elegant mansion, trapped whispers and haunting recollections began to uneart like rats fleeing a crumbling home. Shadows, no longer silent, raged for liberation, a war for truth. Fractured family dynamics seeking resolution buried in dark corners, found within the depths of their own creation. Chapter 4 The Truth Uncovered. Dice of unease bore down upon the Whitmore family like the weight of winter's frost. Since the children had descended into the basement, an unsacable sense of foreboding filled the mansion. Clara returned frequently, wildeed and restless, dragging her siblings along for to ride into the depths of their soul's darkness. On a frigid evening, exhausted from sleepless nights, Evelyn decided it was time to confront the horrifying truths that clung like shadows. Whatever Clara had glimpsed needed to be light bare. She gathered her courage and descended into the basement once more, determined to unearth the startling secrets their home had concealed for so long. Henry followed closely behind, though apprehension connected itself deeply into his soul. Do you think this will help? He murmured, voiced out with worry. It has to, Evelyn replied. She felt the pull of childhood memories swelling within her, propelling her further into the unknown. As they crossed the threshold, the air thickened, and the scent of damp air filled their lungs. Candlelight flickered in the folds of darkness, revealing a strange assortment of items scattered on the ground, an unsettling collection of toys, trinkets, and remnants of childhood long gone. In a small makeshift circle, Clara's two old eyes glazed and entranced, as if double wrapped in a trance beyond their reach. An air of reckoning filled the room, pulsating with a sense of urgency. Clara, yo have taught you what you say, Evelyn urged. The rats told me everything, Clara replied surreptitiously, the innocence of her voice layered with a disquieting edge. Rats, Henry echoed incredulously. They were my friends, Clara insisted, voice rising with fervor. They knew about the honest one ever left. At that moment, the shadows in the corners sprang forth like a spectre awakened. Evelyn and Henry backed away, fear pulling in their stomachs. The gathering of souls bound to the story of their home emerged, figures of children, their faces twisted in agony. As the truth unraveled, Dale, a boy who once lived in the mansion, stepped forward. They won't let us go. They que pusere, his voice rang through the air, filled with grief and despair. Evelyn's heart sank as she grasped the gravity of the situation. What keeps you? The honest will come back, Dale murmured. They sit at your table and at your food will we starve. Henry's eyes widened as realization began to settle in. He blinked into the darkness surrounding them, memories echoing in his mind, the untouched places in their home where laughter had faded, and the echoes of the past lingered like ghosts. As the children shared their stories, the truth began to expose itself, dark, twisted, and horrifying. The Whitmore's society gatherings had inadvertently masked the traumas they concealed within their very wise. The absence of children's voices and laughter could be traced back years, the faint flickers of relatives who had vanished without a trace. Evoking remnants of the past, Evelyn demanded answers from the gathering shadows. How long have you been trapped here? Since they brought us below, a hill with your head checks replied softly, they fed us lies and ere we must wait. A very whispered confirmation tightened the knot in Evelyn's chest. The realization dawned like the bitter chill of winter's breath. She was standing at the consequence of generations past, with the weight of twisted bloodlines crashing upon them. Enris min rased, o can we help yo. Before dale cold respond, te can le ligt dim med, a suffocating force encapsulating te rom. Shadows tewisted around them, sinister whispers clawing into te, air treats bidden and darkness beckoning a consequence beyond their comprehension. Evelyn felt the boundaries of safety erodeas te truth emerged, clawing its way from beneath their comfortable lives. The rats were not mere vermin. They represented the dark, festering history that the Whitmore familia disregarded, burging their secrets beneath lavish dinners and eloquent performances. A reckoning lo med on the horizon, on a that world unveil just what lurked in the shadows, waiting to climb its due. As the oppressive darkness folded in, the children should read under the weight of generations of anguish, blending with a choice of laughter that abruptly faded away. The truth was unmasked, revealing the horror of the past that had scraped away the edges of their present, binding them to a legacy of silence that grew away with each passing night. Chapter 5 The Ride and Percent Reckoning. A palpable tension filled the air in the stat followed, tightening its grip on the Whitmore mansion and consuming each the life that once thrived within its wise. Clara grew more obsessed with her whispers, each night submerging herself further into communion with the spirits lingering in the depths of her home. Evelyn and Henry, frantic, were faced with a demanding understanding that they could no longer ignore the shadows that haunted them. It was during on a particularly stormy night under raging in the distance that they resolved to unearth the haunting reality buried deep within their home. They made their way back to the dim basement, driven by a need to confront the spirits that had imposed upon their family for far too long a reckoning awaited. Are were reagid in this, Henry as quedas they descended the starcase, uncertainty flickering in his gaze. We have to face it, Evelyn replied, voices teadi despite her racing heart. We can't let them control us anymore. Trapped in darkness, they found Clara would led in her no familiar circle, her eyes wide and entranced. Evelyn took a deep breath summoning her resolve, Clara were attacking Joe back. We have to leave this place behind. But Clara's laughter rang o Joe, intertwined with the otherworldly whispers of the shadows, they won't let Joe go. They don't want to be alone. A blast of wind surged through the basement, sending flickering candles spinning before they flickered out, blanketing the room in airy restraints. The moment froze, the ose trummed with emotion as they stood amid the darkness. Then they heard it the resonance of heavy footsteps above. The family had gathered frequently for dinner, the sounds of clattering utensils rising like ghosts above them. They having dinner, Clara stated suddenly, her eyes glowing with both terror and excitement a dangerous cocktail. Evelyn's mind raced. This could not go unchallenged, Henry we have to get the others workers añone, she urged. Please, Evelyn implored, it's not justus anymore when need help. The realization swept through them as the weight of desperation morphed into action. They raced up the dim staircase, emerging into the main level, rooms glowing with flickering candlelight, a stark contrast to the chilling darkness they had just fled. But as they reached the dining room, the sight captured them in a web of horror. The family sat around the table, faces o Joe, eyes glazed as though puppetered by unseen forces. Charles and Margaret engaged in polite conversation among guests lauter echoed, yet the children took no part in the festivities. Shadows seemed to shift with each passing moment, the rooms pulsated, suffocating lauter slipping through the cracks. Mom, Dad, Henry burst forward and suddenly, tension thickened like an ooze around their throats. The adults turned, surprise morphed into creeping fear, confusion disguised as serenity. Henry, what's double wrong? Margaret inquired. It's not just Joe. It's the ooze tere are children ere. Teire trapped e yeyed desperately. Lauter morphed into silence, and the shadows double rapped around them. Children can't be trapped there, Charles muttered, his voice heavy with dismissal. You must join us. We're celebrating, Joe said. But the chilling laughter rang o Joe, transformed into a choice of desperation. Evelyn stepped forward, steadying her voice, Joe need to listen. This ouse, it's alive, but it's feeding on your past. At that moment, the ouse shuddered, a palpable reaction rippling through the wise. The children had borne witness to the reckoning rising beneath the surface, and the atmosphere grew thick with tension. In disbelief, Clara stepped forward, I want to leave. I want to help them, her voice rang clear, piercing through the distraction of a meandering dinner. With that declaration, the flickering lights began to sway precariously. Shadows coalesced, revealing the dim outlines of children emerging from the darkness that enveloped them. A cacophony of emotions surged through the room, fear, anguish, and ope intermingled and collided with a desperate resonance. In that instant, the air turned electric as the faces of the past materialized around the congregation. The guests lauter twisted into panicked screams, owls of terror reverberating through the mansion, twisting through the fabric of their very existence. They were lifted, cross-currents swirled, they had awakened the burden of consequence, a reckoning of silence that could no longer be ignored. The weight of the mansion bore down, cracking as the shadows rose in unison, revealing the truth that had long been obscured. The plethora of ghosts, children hidden away from the world knows to odd before them, grounded in defiance. As shadows stirred, those wo had lingered in the black corners converged upon the table. The dining room rustled with sound, a symphony of anguish, broken promises and buried truths clawing their way into the light. The realization of the burden lifted, they cold finagi break free. And just as the tumult faded into a choice of the past, the foundations of Whitmore Mansion gave way, whilst collapsing under the weight of choices made long ago. The shadows spiraled, melding into the air as the spirits coalesced into sight. Once more, the truth emerged like the nocturnal tide. Shadows and a choice mingled seamlessly, revealing a legacy long hidden beneath the sanctity of shared meals and laughter. Chapter 6 Legacy and Percent Reflection. In the aftermath of the chaotic events that transpired within Whitmore Mansion, Boston lied witness to the cleansing that swept through the community. The mansion, once a symbol of grandeur, stood in airy quietude, a reflection of the past tarnished by darkness. As with an cycle, the whispers of history molded a new narrative, one of revelation and collective healing. Dice turned into weeks as investigators combed through the remnants of the mansion, uncovering the names of children lost to its shadows throughout the years. Evelyn Henry and Clara became the heralds of justice, a trio determined to ensure that the stories of forgotten lives would not fade into mere echoes. Students from local schools gathered for assemblies, bringing to light the stories of their peers burdened beneath the weight of silence. They recounted tales of injustice, weaving a tapestry of understanding, and aiming to create safe spaces for children to share their fears as they opened their hearts to the collective weight of their burdens. Evelyn, now emboldened by the urgency of the past, grew into a role as a beacon of change. With Clara by her side, each day reminding her that the shadows they once feared had given rise to their truth, the siblings began to advocate for safe spaces for children to share their stories, ensuring no one would remain silenced ever again. During a community memorial service held in the town square, people from all walks of life gathered, united by shared sorrow and renewed strength. Evelyn stood before an array of candlelight, sharing the stories of children lost within the confines of Whitmore Mansion. The glow of flickering flames cast a warm light, illuminating faces filled with empathy and grace. What defines a home, she said, voice trembling gently with resolve, is not its grandeur or its wise, but the love that flourishes within. My tose lost within the shadows fin peace, and my our love betes un light that guides the way. The spirit of healing repelled through the crowd, affirming their shared commitment to progress, to ensuring that no child would fail they wandered alone through or your eyes of silence. The work was far from over, but each flickering flame among families represented not only those taken to son but also hope for a community transformed into a safe haven. Clara, displaying newfound strength, recounted the beauty found in shared connection, or the children who had vanished now danced beside them in spirits, a legacy forever intertwined with their own. The darkness never leaves completely, she sighed softly, but together we can weave a brighter future. As the twilight descended over Boston, the Whitmore name slowly transformed from one associated with secrecy and darkness into a symbol of change, a testament to the resilience embodied by those who refused to be silenced. Because what is being a perfect smile can be the darkest secret of all. Chapter 1 The Town and Percent The Perfect Facade. Nestled among the roaring east of New England light a small town of Grendale, a quaint place with picturesque streets, vibrant gardens, and an air that spoke of nostalgia. With picket fences and houses adorned with flowers, it seemed like something out of a storybook, a canvas of pastoral beauty that promised harmony. The town's art beat in the square, where neighbors gathered for the annual fair, exchanging canoeing smiles and laughter. Among the residents was the Roberts family, whose image of perfection captured the town's attention. Emily, the nurturing mother, became known for her community engagements. Matteo, the charismatic father, taught each all history and inspired students with tales of valor and courage. Ter children Sara and Ethan rounded out te picture, a happy dwarf childod exuberance and innocence. However te perfect facade was deceptive. Peneat te surface, te families life laistreun wit suble indicators of unrest. Emily noticed Sarah's dewindling lauter, achieving phenomenon for a hill once bursting with life. She's always outside no, staring at the woods, whispered MRS. Henkins glancing over the fence on afternoon. The observation troubled Emily. Both children carried anunease un like a shadow, unspoken but palpable. The achers at the local show noted, Ethan's withdrawn nature and Sarah's refusal to engage in plays or sports. The family's reputations to odun touched, took the underling currents stirred with unacknowledged anxiety. For the townsfolk grendale epitomised tranquility, jet beneat the picturesque exterior, sommeting wicked lurked. A spring blossomed into summer, the atmosphere around the Roberts' residence grew abier. With a very neighborhood gathering, a very shared meal, Emily felt the weight of concealed truths pressing against the wise of the home. Lauter grew stale, silence crept in where hoy once florised. Although everything appeared normal on the outside, inside the Roberts' home, darkness pulsated a storm brewing just out of reach. Several nights later, the oppressive silence fell like a shroud over the household. Ethan, unable to shake his unease, found himself drawn to the nearby woods, a place whispered about among the children. He often returned home disheveled, his once cheerful de meanor diminished. But it wasn't the night walk stat botered Emily. Rather, it was the wire children's anxiety felt so earnest, so fearful, that their hearts echoed with a silent scream for help. Clara, the youngest here in the neighborhood, spoke about the friends she met in those woods. She described them as shadowy figures with glimmering eyes, beckoning to her from the trees. Those stories sent shivers down Emily's spine. At their reagi, hidden some darkness in their lives that had morphed into nightmares for the children. For now, the whispers remained just that, whispers caught between neighbors and located in the confines of the house. As summer waned, grendale faced an unsettling reality, the perfect facade treatened to succumb to hidden horrors lurking beneath. Looking back, those were signs that would have been easy to ignore, but as the town plunged into autumn, the Roberts family sensed they were standing on the precipice of a haunting truth they could no longer deny. Chapter 2. The cracks appear. As autumn leaves began to fall, the crisp air filled with an exacerbating tension in the Roberts' household. The departure of summer heralded fading colors in more than just the foliage outside. It seeped into the lives of the children, no marked by palpable isolation. Sarah, once the light of the family, drifted away from her loved ones, retreating into a world where she sought solace without understanding it was a shadowed despair. Emily remained concerned, noticing each day that Sarah had stopped visiting her friends. Her laughter, which said to rise like a cherry flute, had died into silence. As Sarah played outside with joy in a wheel, asked MRS. Thompson on afternoon, concern building in her voice. No, her friend replied, the crack of the fence echoing between them, y events se en her eye. Such conversations, read led with apprehension, surrounded Emilia she glanced at her children so lost in themselves. Ethan's behavior mirrored his sister's, stalled home, glued to his sketchpad and voicing his worry stroke in rather than conversation. The mundane routine of their lives no echoed with a hollow sound. During this time Mr. Black the local teacher noticed Ethan's withdrawn nature more profoundly. Took an uncharacteristic interest in the boy, often asking him to share thoughts on their school projects. On a day he approached tangentially, you can always speak to me if you need help, you can know. Him to listen. Tangaset back is with the eyes filled with anxiety. It's fine reagi, he whispered, took the tremor in his voice told a far more arrowing tale. Then, on a fateful evening, Emily decided that enough was enough. The children could no longer live in solitude. She gathered them in the living room, an uncharacteristic decision that filled them a wit for a boding. When they had to talk about what's going on, she sighed, her voice steady despite the crackling tension. Yet both children shrugged her off, evasion masking their fears. Noting sube double wrong mom, Sarah brushed off, tauger de meanor indicate doteruise. Their retreat back into silence felt like an impenetrable while growing taller bite die. The isolation de pened, and family dinners became mere rituals devoid of conversation or laughter, mere representations of the four figures once tribed in the warmth of another's presence. Dice turned into weeks, the growing anxiety latterly sowing seeds of uncertainty and dread. Outside whispers of the children's odd behavior enriched discussions among neighbors. What cold be happening to them? Murmured MRS. Arrington one afternoon will attended to Erdicius. It's like they become shadows, flitting in and out of reality. Distrust and anxiety infiltrated the community, seeping through closet doors and into the very fabric of Grendale. Meanwhile, the Roberts family wore their facade as a mask, concealing the haunting reality buried beneath their smiles. Each passing day chip pedaway at the final triads of connection binding them, it became undeniably clear that the Roberts children were lost within the recesses of their own home. Chapter 3: The Breaking Point. As winter settled over Grendale, the cold air seeped into the very bones of the Roberts family. It became an omnipresent reminder of their stunted warmth, pressing in as darkness continued to climb itself in their abode. The 11 vibrant ways of their home grew stifled and cold, stifling opes and dreams. On a dismal evening, while the wind howled mercilessly outside, an unforeseen incident shattered the fragile remnants of their facade. During a family gathering, Sarah took a sudden step back, within her eyes as though witnessing something unseen, something only she could perceive. The room fell said in concern. What's double wrong? Emily asked, worry igniting within her, but her question went unanswered. And then, in that moment of suspended silence, a shattering noise echoed from behind closed doors, the sound of something breaking, something important. Emily rushed in pursuit, the feeling of dread coiling tightly around her heart. It was Ethan sprawled on the floor, clutching a shattered picture frame, a snapshot from their past. In his eyes, terror flickered like an unquenchable flame. He saw them, gasped breathlessly, pointing towards the darkened doorway, tear in the walls. At that moment, a paralyzing realization hit Emily. The invisible triads of disquiet that had festered in their home were no a palpable reality. Panic surged through her veins. What saw you, Ethan? What do you mean? But before a cold reply, the house grew eerily quiet. The soft cracks of the floor seemed to murmur secrets, and the shadows appeared to deepen, cloaking everything in unsettling mystery. The ghastly memories grew louder, faint cries echoing across their thoughts, sounding more like desperate pleas than childish laughter. They called for him to join them, and it was as if the very foundation of the house began to shake. Emily clutched her children close. A bote of courage surged within her, for the stakes had risen to heights previously unimaginable. Determined to break through the spiral of darkness, Emily made the decision to call in a family therapist. She could no longer ignore the weight of the spire pushing them apart. On the appointed evening, as they looked faded, the therapist arrived, bearing a calm presence. "I heard you've been having struggles as a family," the therapist began, empathetic but firm. Sometimes, breaking the silence can lift the darkness. As they discussed the table, a new kind of tension swirled, much like a brewing storm. But before a true progress could be made, whispers infiltrated the air. Ethan, visibly agitated, interrupted with tears staining his cheeks. "Mom, I don't want them to come back. They will be angry." Clara's voice rang in unison with his distress. They never left. The room fell into chaos, emotions merging in an agonizing sway as kids unleashed the darkness that had clamped over them for too long. The therapist quickly shifted into caregiver mode, gaining control, assuring them that they could find strength to heter and navigate through the cold grip of despair. But what no one called for was that those whispers were not merely figments of a child's imagination. They held age-old truths, a devastating consequence bubbling just below the surface. And it would take a breaking point, a shattering realization, to confront what had lurked behind the ways of their once glorious home, something rooted so deep. They truly had no idea how it could unleash horrors unimaginable. Chapter 4: The Truth Uncovered. Days turned into weeks, and as the winter wind howled outside, the Roberts family remained entangled within their cornered reality. The therapist had empowered them to confront their fears, to shed light upon the darkness that for too long had cloaked them, but trusting delicately on the twisted threads. Evelyn lured Clara into their playroom one afternoon, a bid to reclaim the innocence of childhood from the grip of anxiety. "Let's draw just like old times," she sighed gently, hoping to coax her sister back into the sunlight of joy. But as Clara colored, her eyes flickered to the old wardrobe in the corner, a relic of their childhood. "Remember the stories?" Clara suddenly asked, her innocent tone tinged with a more ominous air, "about the rooms in the basement." Evelyn hesitated, recalling the rumors of families lost under the vastness of the house's past. "Clara," she began, but the words twisted in her throat. Momandad don't want to stoccano, Clara murmured, but if we look I think we cold fintem. Te words un avi in te air. Clara's fascination with the hidden corners of the osemirored, growing obsession with the strange shadows that se medtoide from them bot. What if they cold elpus? She whispered, face aligned with both ope and something darker. With determination swelling in her heart, Evelyn, for you would be Henry, decided to descend into the recesses of their home, a descent into the basement that long been buried beneath remnants of childhood innocence. Navigating through narrow passages where cobwebs clung to the rafters and dust motes danced in the air, they soon found themselves standing before the door marked, employees only. Citant art beate choed in their chests as they shared a glance, laden with fear and resolve before pushing it open. Inside, a faint flicker of light illuminated the expansive cellar, casting ghostly shadows that flitted across the walls. A collection of long-forgotten furnishings adorned the room, but more unsettling were the remnants of children, toys and toys long left to decay, each on a silent testimony of lost dreams. Each corner revealed a disquieting story, perhaps families that had once thrived within the walls of this grand mansion, swallowed by unanswered questions and silent terrors. As they moved further inside, Clara suddenly paused, eyes wide, staring at the cracked floorboards. "What's that?" she exclaimed, pointing towards a space that lay partially hidden, a trapdoor emanating an aura of secrecy. Gingerly they pried it open, revealing stars leading deeper into the abyss. They are grey heavy, saturated with the ghosts of altose woad come before. Driven by both fear and curiosity, they descended, courage rapidly diminishing as darkness double rapid around them. Upon entering a large chamber, they stumbled into a sight that consumed their spirits, a gathering of children, faces pale and eyes oyo. They started back, shadows of forgotten souls yearning for liberation. El pus pleaded on a hill, desperation painting her voice. We were trapped evitose what to our dreams, we overshadowed our lives with darkness. Evelyn's heart sank as she understood, these children, the remnants of past lives swallowed by the shadows, had existed in parallel worlds, hidden away from the light, just like her own siblings. In that moment, the whispers of truth double rapid around them, a story forged in silence and despair, a legacy of twisted fates threaded through generations that had been concealed, forgotten, and overshadowed by their families' obsession with appearances. For each celebration, lauter echoed through the eyes, while cries of lost children resonated far below. WHY cold tañone e arus, enriasqued aloud as the ars blurred his vision, reflecting both fear and the weight of realization. Because they chose not to listen, the hill replied, resolution building within her gaze, but we cannot remain like it is forever. And as they stood amidst the choice, the weight of the reality they uncovered stark and the abbey, an understanding forged in the darkness of their shared existence. It was a call to arms, a moment to rise from the shadows and reclaim a very story that yearned to break free their fates bound not just by the loss, but by the strength recovered from each other. Chapter 5 The Ride and Percent Reckoning. With the chilling truth unveiled, the dynamic within the Roberts household shifted to one of urgency and fervor. Empathy pulsated among the siblings as they returned home, the weight of their newly discovered reality igniting a fierce determination to act. Together they knowed the power that lay concealed in silence, breathing past traumas to create a path forward. The dice that followed grew increasingly tense. Shadows still omed, but no taste to as solemn reminders of forgotten childhoods. They approached their parents, trembling but resolute, ready to reveal the vestiges of pain still haunting their household. It was time to confront the truth. Mom, Dad, Evelyn sighed on evening, gathering the courage to speak after a prolonged silence. We spoke to children others like us. They need help. They have been trapped, it's connected to everything and it's happening here. Emily's calm demeanor faltered, her curiosity giving way to disbelief, in this house. Yes, Clara exclaimed, voice trembling, they're trapped beneath us. We have to save them. The weight of their revelations crashed down upon the parents, the stoic figures brought to their canes by the hidden horrors within their mansion. What do you mean? Matteo asked, voice strained. Evelyn recounted everything, a very glimpse into the gathering of lost souls, each story woven together with despair, a tapestry of pain binding them all. Matteo's brow furrowed as the gravity of it I was said over him. Then we must do something, he declared, steeling himself, we can't allow this to continue. With newfound resolve, they prepared not just to confront their household but also to seek help from authorities. Emily tog shaken stepped forward, unwilling to dismiss the truths no standing before them, well call the authorities. They have to understand. Inte dais leading to their meeting, tension swayed as rumors spread through the tight canid community about the Roberts family, their whispers floating through the air like a mist on a foghead morning. It became clear, they would have to unearth the truth to protect themselves and the children imprisoned within. On a fateful evening, Emily and Matteo, along with the children, welcomed local law enforcement into their home, the chiyube double wrapping around them like a blanket as they gathered in the dining room. With each drawn breath, the artikened a delicate balance of hope and fear, a reckoning built upon trust. When it to talk about our home, about what's lurking beneath, Emily began her voice steady but vulnerable. Tere are children held beneath us. They be being lost in the shadows. But a citation woven into disbelief repelled through the room. Officer Marks, a stalwart figure who had known the Roberts for years, took a momento process. You're asking us to believe in shadows. Evelyn, beating back her emotions, stepped forward, her heart yearning to convey the weight of unending silence. Teire real. We've spoken to them. They be being trapped there. The officers exchanged glances, skepticism painted upon their expressions. Yet deep down, they were acutely aware of the rising tension surrounding the town. Perhaps the darkness that intertwined throughout a very straight and corner could no longer be disregarded as mere fiction. As hours passed, determination set in, and after what felt like an insurmountable challenge, they made the decision to raid the basement of the Whitmore Mansion. As the sun dipped low and shadows lengthened, they prepared themselves for what lay beneath. With flashlights flickering to life, they descended into the cavernous darkness, alone pulsating through the air. As they approached the hidden trapdoor that disclosed the children's plaint, whispers encircled like strings of fate woven through the chambers. Evelyn and Clara clung to each other as they watched. The officers pushed open the door, and their world trembled as the depths of the sellarum furled, a room cloaked in stillness almost reverent. But as they entered, horror rose as those forgotten souls materialized, each figure trapped within reminders of lives unfulfilled, a choice of wishes left unspoken. The atmosphere grew tense, cries resounded through the chambers. Panic ran rampant as the officers reeled back, caught off guard by what lay before them. The children, immediate and ghostly, vented their anguish, their cries shaking a very foundation of silence. El pus, they pleaded, as with the wit terror a collective se regriega coursing through the air, and army seeking liberation. As the cries pulsated into the wise, a very soul in the room felt the cocoon of darkness shatter. Whilst that had long imprisoned, those lost souls now began to break free, the shadows swirling like spirits released from old burdens. The officers, shaken boots stead fast, radioed for reinforcements, stepping forth to rescue those long overshadowed by despair. In that moment, the mansion ebbed with an exhalation of centuries of grief, seeking to bring forth the forgotten, the suffocated lives ignored at a very corner. As cries intermingled with the wiles of the rain above, the curtain began to lift, revealing just how intertwined their legacies had grown over time. As the layers of darkness fell, a choice transformed into sound, voices rising to reclaim the space, standing shoulder to shoulder, buoyed by the chance of attaining freedom. Light began to seep into the corners of shadows. Chapter 6 Legacy and Percent Reflection. In the wake of the raid, the town of Greendale witnessed an unfeasible that would last generations. The lights flickered back to life within the Roberts household, a family changed forever through the process of unearthing their darkest secrets. The summer's warmth had not only freed the children trapped but illuminated a path forward, a venture toward creating safer places of solace for the youth. The community rallied together, seeking to understand the chilling revelations that had emerged from the confines of the Whitmore Mansion. Evelyn and her siblings stood as advocates in a town that now recognized the buried stories that needed to be told, believing in the strength of unity as they faced the darkness. Together they hosted town eyes and meetings, empowering children and adults alike to share experiences, arrowing yet redeeming in their endeavors. Each should take tragedy to realize we are connected, Evelyn asserted. Our conversations must be louder, filled with compassion and hope. Time passed and memorials welcomed the lost children, their souls finally freed, we having a legacy among those who had fought to bring them back to the light. Candles flickered at the town square, illuminating each name inscribed on the stone a solid testament to those silenced to son and the scars left in their wake. Everi gathering echoed resilience as parents began integrating open conversations into their homes, recognizing that their children's fears needed to be heard rather than dismissed. The community united around the need for healing. Clara, no with newfound determination, found herself leading the charge the shadows that had once haunted were no bruised as they debían no havering licked. She spoke of dreams, of the comfort shared by ordinary children in extraordinary circumstances, lifting the curtain on their lives lost to darkness. Evelyn looked on with pride as her siblings embraced spaces to share their stories, inviting laughter and healing back into their lives. What defines a home is not the appearances we show to the world but the tenderness we cultivate within our hearts, she said, voicing head with passion at an open forum. With time the legacy left behind in the streets of Grendale encapsulated more than just loss. It became a beacon of strength, illuminating paths toward empathy, understanding and compassion. They forged a commitment to never again allow shadows to dictate their stories. As the seasons turned and the years rolled on, the martyr of Grendale marked the transformation of their community, forever reminded of the choice in their past. What was once cloaked in silence had grown to become a testament of unity and healing. Because what is behind a perfect smile can be the darkest secret of all. Evelyn whispered softly into the twilight, holding the memories of those lost close to her heart as about to never let their stories fade away again. Chapter 1 The Town and Percent the Perfect Facade. As the early autumn winds began to rustle through the trees of Grendale, a foreboding chill permeated the air. This charming town, framed by picturesque landscapes, was a constellation of quaint homes and friendly neighborhoods. The painted shutters and manicured lawns gave the illusion of comfort and stability, secretly masking the tumult brewing just beneath the surface. The Whitmore Mansión stood at the town's edge, a grand facade that had fascinated residents for decades. Its elaborately carved wooden doors and sprawling gardens were frequently admired, but whispers of disquiet often suffused the air surrounding it. The Whitmores were a family of distinction. Charles, the respected patriarch and business mogul, Margaret, the elegant matriarch with a penchant for hosting extravagant soirees, and their three children, Evelyn, Henry, and the youngest Clara. Despite their glamorous exterior, the Whitmore family was entangled in a web of tension, fraying at the edges. Evelyn, the eldest, exhibited an uncharacteristic maturity for her age, often caught between the child she wished to be and the responsibilities she bore. Henry, on the other hand, had long surrendered to his dreams, lost in a world of his own for too long. And Clara, forever curious, remained a bright spot in the shadows, her innocence clashing against unspoken fears that danced in the corners of the mansion. I was not as it appeared. Rumors threaded through the conversations in Grendale's cafes. People spoke of the Whitmores with reverence, only to match it with concern. During a visit to the local bakery, Mrs. Jenkins glanced at the group clustered around the coffee table, confiding, Evelyn doesn't smile like she said to. Have you seen her? Once taken of social gatherings, Evelyn had become a fleeting shadow within her own home, deprived of the joys of youth. And Clara, rumors seeped through the town about the airy games she played in the expansive gardens, where imaginary friends lingered longer than necessary. Families in Grendale at their store, hidden corners and untold stories etched in their ways. Yet even in their perceived imperfections, the Whitmore families also stood as an emblem of wealth and success. But in homes were non edared per rigregato de epli, the darkness simmered, and all pretenses would eventually be stripped away. As autumn gripped the town, a palpable tension emerged, manifesting in the dining room as they gathered for dinner. Lauter filled the air, but its familiar warmth was tinged with unease. What sube double round the arrest? Asked Margaret, glancing at Evelyn, her brow furrowing. Jure au fugi quieto necked. Evelyn's fingers twisted nervously around her fork, nothing moter. Just thinking, but the words felt inadequate. Talk swirled through her mind like leaves caught in a restless wind. A growing dread tied her heart to an illusory truth, and in that moment of familial warmth, the grief of canoeing loomed large. The wind howled outside as it whispered secrets that dissipated into the night. In that grand, imposing mansion, darkness loomed closer, the unseen storm of secrets mingled with the whispers throughout the town, ready to unravel the fabric of the Whitmore family. Chapter 2 The cracks appear. As winter's chill swept across Grendale, the quiet desperation haunted the Whitmore household. The snow settled across the landscape like a shroud, muffling the sounds of the world outside, while inside tensions thickened. Evelyn burdened herself with responsibilities, failing shackled in ter roles imposed upon her be her own family, each expectation sitting heavy on her shoulders. Henry was withdrawing the pair into his world of fantasies, often roaming the mansions endless always like a lost spirit, while Clara remained an innocent observer, spinning tales of the strange figures she insisted she saw in the gardens a banishment from reality that left others bewildered. Teire mi friends and they have stories too. She would insist, her eyes sparkling with a fervor that sent shivers down Evelyn's spine. On afternoon, while dusting the intricate chandeliers that adorned the drawing room, Evelyn overheard a conversation between her parents. Hidden behind the cracked door, she leaned closer, straining to catch the whispers. We can't keep pretending everything's fine, Charles, Margaret's voice quivered, the children are sleeping away from us. We must find a way to connect again. Give them time, Margaret. They had hust. We've built a perfect life for them, he retorted bluntly. But in that moment, the facade of their perfect life fractured slightly, revealing the growing fissures in their family dynamic. Evelyn moved away from the door, her heart pounding. Were her parents blind to the darkness creeping in? In the long shadow of those conversations, unease settled deeper. As the days blurred into weeks, the children began to express their pain in odd ways. Evelyn found herself keeping watch over Clara, noting her strange behavior with each new encounter outside. On evening, a confrontation erupted when Clara returned from the garden, checks flused and breathless. I met them again, she exclaimed, eyes shining with excitement. Wo Evelyn snapped a sense of dread creeping up her spine, just wo are tese friends. Teire just kids like me. And they want to play. Evelyn's heart tore at the thought of her sister engaging with figments of imagination or worse. Without understanding, she took Clara's hand. You can't play with shadows, Clara. We must focus on what is real. Tears brimmed in Clara's eyes as she pulled her hand away, frustration speaking out. You don't understand. Henry waddling lingered in the corner of the away, watched with a mixture of dread and empathy. Their family pushed against the limits of silence, each child arboring their burdens in isolation. Shadows stitched around them their with every passing day. As tensions escalated, the community began to notice discrepancies. Locals murmured about the strange absence of children's laughter around the Whitmore mansion. Gossip flowed freely, mixing with the snow-laden air. An air of anxiety settled over Grendale, as if something largely unspoken settled uneasily amongst residents, encroaching on the definite ways of the town. With each new snowfall, the shadows painted over their lives grew abierty, whispering dark secrets that lingered just beyond reach. The only certainty was this. With a very elongated moment of silence, the darkness cornered them closer to a truth only the heart could perceive. Chapter 3: The Breaking Point. As January rolled in, the 11 lively streets of Grendale lay draped in an oppressive silence, fractured whispers filling voids where laughter once thrived. Beneath the easy veneer of winter, dread coiled tightly around the Whitmore household, leaving it frozen in its trajectory toward unveiling a rowing truth. It came to a head on a frigid night, the winds howling outside, bearing treads that mirrored the tempest within the mansion. Evelyn had, to her dismay, discovered that Clara had vanished upstairs once again. When she gathered her courage to knock on her sister's door, the tapping fell flat against layers of darkness. The sound of Clara's voice ghosted through, a sing-song melody that reverberated unsettlingly in the air. In with them, she sang, spirited yet tinged with fear. Clara opened the door, Evelyn pleaded, pounding gently yet forcefully against the wood. No response came. Panic surged like a wave, and it. Opened the door. With urgency thrumming in her veins, Evelyn took swift action, double wrenching the door open. To her shock, she found Clara alone amid shadows, swaying and whispering to something unseen, something ominous. Clara, she called, the tremor of fear flowed in her voice. What have you been doing? As Clara turned, her eyes locked onto Evelyn with the boot vacant, as if the child within had slipped away. They won't let me go, she chanted, her tone steeped in conviction, almost hypnotized. They want me to play forever. A chill cascaded down Evelyn's spine. The once innocent sparkle in Clara's eyes had been replaced by the haunting shadow of despair, so meeting the pair and darker rooted within their home. In that single moment, the comforting bonds of sisterhood felt strained by an unseen force. Before Evelyn could respond, she felt a presence being there. Henry stepped into the room, mouth slack in disbelief. What is going on? The confrontation spiraled into chaos, words erupting in frustration and fear. Clara wailed, "Teire ere. Host listen. And that was when it began, a low rumble reverberated through the wise. Shadows then said, blurring the lines of reality. Evelyn felt the air trum with tension, the once familiar surroundings twisted into something malevolent. And now, she cried, her voice rising above the chaotic din. It had become clear, the darkness had taken root in their home, embedding itself deeply at the core of their existence. The breaking points had arrived. The facade they'd maintained for so long demanded reckoning, no family code we ater the gale of hidden truths alone. Summoning ayer courage, Evelyn made the decision that nicked a resolve boiling within her heart, when edged to the moment that. There is something double wrong with this house, she whispered urgently to Henry. As they approached their parents, calling out into the darkness that enveloped them, they found the living room still flickering with cold candlelight. In the flicker of illumination, the weight of dread pressed against them with a very heartbeat. We can't ignore this anymore, Henry sighed, cradling Clara as if she were a fragile doll. Taking a deep breath, Evelyn prepared to confront the mantle of isolation, a family trapped in a web woven by silence and denial. We need help. Something terrible is happening, she called, her voice overpowering the Nick's grasp. The flickering candles dampened as Margaret and Charles exchanged concerned glances. What do you mean? Charles frowned, but Evelyn's gaze bore the weight of the truth they needed to confront. It's the house. Clara has been saying things, she hesitated, choosing her words carefully. There are children here trapped. If we don't do something now, we might lose Clara too. Margaret's demeanor shifted from confusion to alarm. Let's sit down and discuss this, of us. We must find a way to address this as a family. But that was when the reality of their trepidation settled fully upon them. Their life had been shaped by whispers and shadows. The house held all their secrets tan añone had anticipated. And as the night deepened, uncertainty double wrapped its cold fingers around the family, holding them captive to a looming reckoning. Chapter 4 The Truth Uncovered. As winter progressed, the atmosphere within the Whitmore Mansion grew stiflingly heavy. There was no denying the escalating tension as the children grappled with insecurities and fears festering within the walls of their home. Time passed with an agonizing slowness, each second echoing the dread that consumed them. Despite their efforts to share their worries with their parents, uncertainty lingered in the air. Each child bore their burdens unseen but palpable, chains that seemed to tighten with a very passing moment. Clara remained fixated on the shadows, seemingly unaware of the anxiety rippling around her. On evening, Evelyn found her sitting alone in the upper archway with a dog cradled in her arms. What are you doing? Evelyn asked, turning to infuse her voice with calmness. You shouldn't be up here alone. Listening, Clara sighed simply, eyes wide and unfocused. They want us to canoe. The words struck Evelyn like a bolt of lightning, igniting a wave of panic. We have to stop this. They're not real. They're shadows, Clara. But as Clara continued to listen intently, her little fingers traced the floorboards, oblivious to the mounting fear. That night, Evelyn decided they needed a plan, a way to confront whatever darkness lurked behind the walls, to shed light upon truths long buried. We're going back to the cellar, she confided to Henry on a used whisper. Henry's brow furrowed as he contemplated the shadows that draped over their lives, the whispers of lost children echoed in his mind. You really think we find answers down there? Or at least we'll say, Evelyn urged, determination flushing through her veins like a warmth against the cold. On a moonlit night, as the wind howled outside, the children moved stealthily through the dim corridors of the mansion, hearts pounding in unison. They made their way first to the trapdoor that had revealed shadows so long denied. The cellar lay before them, an abyss yawning with demanding courage. They stilled themselves, inhaling the damp air that poured forth as they descended the chilling staircase. As they entered the room, shadows greeted them, extending like arms of an unsettling embrace. In the flickering light of their lantern, they found remnants of forgotten lives, a collection of broken toys and faded memories around them. But it was the sudden sound of laughter, so chillingly ethereal that gripped them, blurring the lines between reality and the surreal. The shadows morphed, coalescing into shapes that danced just out of reach. Their pledging, Clara sighed, her voice soft, eyes alight with a strange joy. But Evelyn felt a dread rip through her heart. What do you mean? It told me, Clara replied, spinning around as if to face an unseen presence. A sight they don't want us to leave. They want us to join them. The shadows began to swirl, growing more tangible, carrying them into the depths. Henry felt his pulse kicking as he turned to Evelyn. Is this real? Tis camp bea penning, shestrained, terror clinging to everisillable. Butas te shadows pulsed wit energy, te lauter intensified, surging through te spaces te occupied curling around them. It morphed into a familiar melody on a long buried beat time. Each note echoed of sadness ante longing for freedom. Suddenly Clara frose face pale, they were children, she whispered, realization wasing over in waves, they need help. In that moment of epiphany, Evelyn understood. The shadows held stories, lives trapped within the underbelly of their home, reminders of lost dreams echoing through each fleeting moment. Teresa story ere, she declared, determination sweeping through her voice, we have tot their momandad. The realization that their lives had been intertwined with a dark tapestry of neglect upon them like a shroud. They finally understood that these shadows were not just figments of imagination, they represented lost souls, a burden carried by families like their own. As the children rose to confront the truth, lauter transformed into surging anguish resonating through the air as they pled head to unearth their family's story, to pen a legacy into light and drive the darkness back into the shadows. Chapter 5 The Ride and Percent Reckoning. The arrival of spring greeted Grendale with a renewed sense of hope, but the weight of the past still omed e heavy over the Whitmore family. As the children returned from their harrowing expedition into the depths of the mansion, they resolved to confront the reality that had for too long lain dormant. Their new understanding bloomed into urgency, about to reveal the hidden truths before a time rendered them irretrievable. On a bleak rainy Thursday, Evelyn gathered courage and approached their parents once again. We need to talk about what we discovered, she insisted. Margaret looked up from the kitchen table, a look of trepidation shadowing her eyes. What is it this time? Evelyn inhaled deeply. Things have happened in this house, children lost to darkness. We've seen them and they need our help. Charles regarded her with a mixture of confusion and concern. You're speaking in riddles. Children? What do you mean? Clara chimed in, her voice quivering but earnest, they want to tell us. They're trapped and lonely, they need us to listen. For haven't sake Clara, Matteo said, the fatigue evident in his voice, and no with this nonsense. But everything shifted within Evelyn as she said hasta le mate brewing, their family had long been ensnared in silence, masking their fears behind closed doors. Nothing is nonsense when it comes to our family, she shot back, her voice rising. These children they deserve to be heard. As Matteo shifted uncomfortably, Evelyn's heart raced. She sensed opportunity with a very second carrying the weight of expectation, the fear that had long double wrapped around their home. If we don't confront what's hidden here, we will lose ourselves to the very darkness that clings to these wise, she urged, frustration bubbling over. The tension escalated, gathering momentum like a fierce storm, until Margaret finally broke the silence. Maybe we need to listen, even for Clara's sake. But what should we do? The question unlike an unclosed door, opening the way for possibility. We seek help, official help, Evelyn proposed as with the wit open. We need to unearth our family's past. With the decision solidified, the family set into motion a plan to reach out to local authorities, a move compelled by desperation and a burgeoning desire to reclaim their home from the shadows. The looming reality of choosing to confront buried memories head-on filled them with trepidation, knowing that the truth would test the very foundation of their family. Over the following days, as the town buzzed with vibrant activity led by the arrival of spring blossoms, the atmosphere within Whitmore Mansion darkened, shadows lurking ominously in the corners. Evelyn found herself surrounded by whispers of apprehension as they prepared for a life-changing meeting. The day arrived when officers would gather in their home, ready to explore the depths of what lay hidden beneath the layers of their beloved mansion. When they stepped over the threshold, the children felt a tremor ripple through the air, as if the wise themselves were alive with anticipation. Let's hear what you have to say, Officer Mark stated, setting as the adigase upon Evelyn, her heart racing as she looked into the concerned faces of authority. With urgency she shared their experiences, recounting the shadows of forgotten children walling headed within the folds of their home. They're waiting for a chance to be heard, for someone to finally recognize them, Evelyn implored, her voice growing strong with conviction. Charles and Margaret added their voices, unified in their resolve. We're asking for understanding, to confront the darkness that has woven itself into the fabric of our lives, they echoed, sharing glances of solidarity that fortified their commitment to one another. The officers listened intently, the gravity of the situation weighing upon them as they prepared for a ride on the cellar. Organizing themselves with the children's accounts, they doned flashlights and resolute expressions, understanding that it was not their duty to serve as guardians, not just for the living, but also for those no longer seen. As they descended the familiar starcase, feelings of dread and anticipation mingled in the cold, dank air. Clara gripped Evelyn's antightly, her own trepidation mixing with the determination of a child eager to find kinship among those who had suffered. Upon reaching the cellar, the officers exchanged glances filled with uncertainty but they led resolve. They articulated with the whispers of anguish as if they wished themselves el their breath in a tense silence, waiting for a confrontation long overdue. The treasure trove of lost lives awaited them a harrowing collection of memories scattered across the easy floor, revealing the remnants of those stolen from childhood. Their hearts raced as the shadows danced around them, intertwining with their own fears. Suddenly a faint whisper broke the silence, echoing against the wise like a penitent player. Help us, the words rose like tendrils of smoke, echoing with urgency. One officer his voice steady called into the darkness, if anyone is down ere where ere to help you. You are not alone anymore. The shadows flickered, tangled together, and in a moment of raw humanity, the spirits emerged children trapped within the folds of their irrevocable past. Their eyes shimmered with sorrow, filled with solitude sustained through generations. As they regroped beneath the flickering lights, the officers were frozen, confronted with the raw agony of lost lives emerging from the darkness, a rebellion against long-held silence. "Who are you?" sighed Officer Mark's voice trembling. "I was ere," Achille responded, her gaze piercing through the shadows haunted but resolute. "We were forgotten." In those moments, they articulated with purpose, a very voice longing to be amplified, a collective se regriega bursting forth amidst despair. It was more than an attempt at solace, it was a vehement plea for acknowledgement, craving the light over the darkness that ensnared them. As the officers stepped forward, embracing their roles as guardians, they worked feverishly to record names, stories, and the horrors of lives cut short. They would do everything in their power to honor those who had been silenced, offering a pathway that led not just to freedom, but to true restoration. Chapter 6 Legacy and Reflection. In the aftermath of the raid, Grendale found itself caught in a vortex of change. The awakening of the Whitmore children resonated through the fabric of the town, a testament not solely of loss, but of reclamation, resilience, and healing. As the dust of past shadows settled, their stories began to weave into the fabric of the community. Evelyn, Clara, and Henry emerged as champions, their young hearts steadfast in seeking justice for those once invisible. Emotional speeches resonated through town eyes, where citizens gathered alongside the officers was to be vigilant in transforming their fears into renewed purpose. What those children faced was a darkness tethered within the very heart of our community, Evelyn emphasized during her address, fear flickering in her eyes. They were not mere shadows but living souls craving recognition and belonging, voices raised amidst centuries of silence. The town raged, coming together to create spaces dedicated to remembrance, memorial stones inscribed with the names of those lost, placed lovingly at the edge of the gardens where children played. They vowed never to falter in prioritizing safety over appearances, understanding that darkness within families often grows within the silence that stretches across homes. Clara blossomed in the warmth of newfound connections, the shadows that once taunted her became friends, now forever inscribed within her heart. As she shared her experiences, whispered legends that had once haunted her transformed into stories of triumph, a legacy stitching linked back into the community. Days became weeks, seasons shifted with time, and the healing blossomed in Grendale amongst the enduring shadows of the past. Each child became a living memory, an echo of strength that the community would not allow to fade. Residents opened their homes to conversations, sharing vulnerabilities around kitchen tables where love would outseen fear. Evelyn stood proud, poised upon the dice at an annual gathering honoring those lost children, a celebration of their lives rather than a lament for what had been lost. We can elevate the spirits of those walling here in the shadows. Be sharing we liberate, we become vessels of light carrying forth into the world. As the crowd erupted into applause, each clap seemed to resonate with the energy of those who had been lost to neglect and despair. It became a pact, a legacy built upon the foundation of community, compassion, and the unwavering commitment to embracing every voice. Years later, the laughter of children filled the grounds of Whitmore Mansion, now transformed into a community center that opened its doors wide, a haven free from the burdens of secrecy. The gardens were maintained with care, the choice of play intertwined with memories of lost souls, no merged into a beautiful tapestry of new beginnings. And as Evelyn stood at the center, she understood their journey was not just a struggle against shadows but a testament of hope amid a world, I too wishing to ignore the cries of the vulnerable. Because what is being the perfect smile, can be the darkest secret of all. Chapter 1 te tonan percent the perfect facade. The early days of summer brought a veil of unease over the town of Grendale. With its sprawling green lawns and perfectly manicured flower beds, it painted a picture of suburban bliss. Yet underneath the policed exterior, something sinister had begun to brew, cloaked by the charm of the Whitmore Mansion. Known for its ornate architecture and air of grandeur, the mansion was home to the Whitmore family. Charles, an influential businessman, Margaret, the gracious hostess, and their three children, Evelyn, Henry, and Clara. The Whitmores embodied the American dream, presenting a flawless image of family life. Their parties were the talk of the town, filled with laughter and extravagant displays of wealth. Yet whispers floated through the grapevine, a tide of concern that wove itself into conversations. Did you say how distant Clara has become? All the mere. Henkins has quedat te bakeri wille sipping his coffee. It's almost as if she's running from something. Henry, once full of ambition, had transformed into a shadow of himself, retreating into his books and daydreams. As the summer months unfurled, Avery, the family so sequieper, quietly observed the change. She noted how the children interacted less, often haunted by expressions of unspoken turmoil when the glittering facade of their parents' world began to crumble. Inside the mansion, the wise stood the sentinels, echoing a blend of laughter and concealed dread. It was on a particularly sultry evening that Evelyn overheard their parents arguing, outside tumult racing through the marble corridors. You just don't hate it, Charles. They're struggling, Margaret's voice trembled with emotion, her frustration bursting forth like a tempest. Evelyn's heart pounded in her chest. She tiptoed closer, pressing her ear against the door, when Ed to better for them. They're losing themselves in our shadow. The argument faded, leaving behind an unsettling silence that settled heavily in the air. Outside, the world continued to spin, but within those grand wise the atmosphere thickened. This disconnect was merely a symptom of something much darker waiting to unravel. Meanwhile, Clara spent more time wandering the gardens, her imagination transforming the serene landscape into a playground of fanciful creatures. I have friends who live in the shadows, she told her sister on afternoon, eyes alight with a terrifying innocence. They play when no one else is watching. Evelyn, troubled, felt the chill creep down her spine as she tried to reignite the sisterly bond that had died. What do you mean? What friends, Clara? She asked, momentarily forgetting the layers of adult concern that clouded her response. They're eating, Clara replied earnestly. They just want someone to see them like we see each other. The conversation left Evelyn unsettled, a gnawing concern taking root deep within her heart. There was an unsettling quality to the innocence Clara represented, and mixed with it was the palpable fear that reverberated among the siblings. As summer waned, the idyllic facade began to crack. The whispers around town grew louder, neighbors exchanged concerned glances and used tones about the Whitmores. Is everything all right in there, Mrs. Thompson wondered aloud, with double wringing her hands. But feared to intervene in what was deemed a family affair. Inside the mansion, shadows lingered, mingling with silence, a spectre of the unresolved simmering below the surface. The Whitmore family was on the brink of confronting the truth buried within their wise, a truth growing darker as the dice turned into nights. Chapter 2 The cracks appear. The air turned brisk as autumn descended upon Grendale, the trees shedding their leaves as if mirroring the Whitmore family's hidden decay. The crisp air was filled with a sense of impending change that weighed down on the mansion, as if the seasons themselves were aligned against them. Evelyn found herself increasingly aware of her siblings' changing behaviors. Clara became more introverted, her laughter fading like autumn leaves, while Henry seemed caught in perpetual reverie, his ambitions lost among the whispers of the shadows. Each day the siblings retreated further into their own corners, forging ways where there had once been camaraderie. During an unusually tense dinner, Charles spoke to his family about the coming winter, but the words fell flat as if intercepted by an invisible barrier. We have to prepare, brace ourselves for the holiday gatherings, uttered, though his voice echoed emptiness. Margaret watched her husband with furrowed brows, her concern shadowed by the weight of the Niall. Teire not al richt Charles, chefinagi murmured, voice imbued with urgency. You can't keep pretending everything's fine. At that moment Clara lo queda up from her plate gase piercing. They don't want to stoleave, she sighed clearly, staring at her parents as though revealing a truth they had tried to ignore. What do you mean, Clara? Henry interjected, curiosity and apprehension swirling within him. They want to stove with them. They're waiting. The momentum in the air stout like a raw nerve. Margaret exchanged a glance with Charles, unease wasing over them like a turbulent tide. The dinner table, once a place of warmth and laughter, had morphed into a chamber filled with unspoken dread. Evelyn combated the rising tide of fear that threatened to promote everything they held there. What do you mean, Clara? Was waiting. But Clara was quiet now, retreating back into her mind, as if the shadows had whispered their secrets in a language only she could understand. As days wore on, the weight of isolation smothered them, like a bitter frost creeping onto the windows. Slips of normalcy transformed into distant memories, the conversations ceasing as the children sought comfort among shadows rather than within their family. Emily, woman ahead the old, caught snippets of concern, her brows knitting thickly together. There is something double wrong with the children, she confided to a friend while folding laundry. They're losing their spark, and they don't know how to reach them. But the facade remained intact. Grendale flourished, gardens blossomed, and festivities continued to flourish, facet bit the darkness that lies stitched within the fabric of the Whitmore mansion. Whispers flitted about like fallen leaves, swirling around the children was out solace in hidden corners and unlit rooms, caught in a battle they could not understand. As winter descended, the unseen spectres began to unfurl their grip. The once vibrant home, no nestling burgeon in fears, awaited a confrontation that lies simmering beneath the surface, ready to erupt. Chapter 3: The Breaking Point. As the dice turned into nights, the starkness of winter seeped into the Whitmore mansion, heavy and relentless. The cold pierced through the walls, and easy tendrils crept around the family, binding them in a pervasive gloom. With each passing day, the shadows within multiplied, darker deeper, putting at the seams of their lives. The breaking point arrived on a chilling January night. Evelyn found their siblings gathered around a flickering candle in the parlour, their faces illuminated by a spectral glow. Henry, with the jet, was peering into the flame, whispering to Clara in used tones. "What are you doing?" she asked, the dread pulling deep within her stomach as she clutched her heart. "They're coming back," Clara murmured, her fingernails digging into the wooden table. "The honest want us. They want us to play again." The atmosphere thickened, heavy with unacknowledged fears. Clara stopped this. "This isn't a game," Evelyn shot back, panic rising in her voice. "They're not real. We can't let them control us." But Clara remained fixated, the wild glimmer in her eyes suggesting an unsettling knowledge beyond their years. "They're waiting for us to come," she insisted, her voice rising as if summoned by something unseen. Enriched in his expression heavy with uncertainty. "What if she's right?" hesitated, instinctively drawn to the mystery that unraveled in Clara's words. Evelyn felt desperation clamoring for attention. "This has to stop. We can't let them fester in our lives. We have to talk to Mom and Dad, make them understand." "No," Clara screamed, her face contorted with fear. "They punish us." It felt as if a dam had broken. The once tentative grasp on reality fractured completely, boiling over into panic. Evelyn stepped forward resolute. "We're not afraid anymore. We'll confront whatever's haunting us. Joyce will find a way." But in the hours that followed, the atmosphere shifted again. The shadows crept deeper, melding into the corners of their home, listening, stirring. The children huddled together in fear, lost in the fading light as night engulfed their surroundings. The shadows grew bolder in haunting their dreams. Clara awoke night after night, too terrified to share her visions, drawing back into the depths of her mind. A lingering darkness shrouded her sense of safety, leaving her adrift. The breaking point had forged an inescapable bond. Our three siblings sought comfort in the only thing left on another. United by fear, they talked an unspoken vow to uncover the truth or fight against the shadows that lurked within their lineage. They were not merely bound by silence anymore, they would not be consumed. With each passing day, the weight of their shared burdens demanded action. It was now or never. In that twisting darkness, something stirred a resolve that echoed through the Whitmore mansion, pledging to confront whatever had long cast its shadow over their family. Chapter 4: The Truth Uncovered. Into the penning gloom of winter, te Whitmore children bandet togeter, their souls intertwined as they sought to pierce the fabric of darkness enveloping their lives. They whispered late into the night, exchanging fears that had become burdens to e habito bear alone. Togeter they would venture into the unknown, shedding the chains of shadows that had climbed their childhood. On a cold afternoon, as the frost crept onto the window panes, Evelyn suggested they delve into the attic, a place rarely visited, enshrouded in mystery and the dust of forgotten dreams. If were to understand what ounces when had to confront it, she urged boldly. The three siblings clambered up the creaky stairs, achi running through them as they approached the attic door, an imposing barrier that had long shielded them from the stories buried within. Clara, with the and enchanted, reached forth the door knob and pushed it open with a crack that sounded like a while. Inside, the attic was a cavern of the past, forgotten memories layered beneath inches of dust. Boxes amassed with artifacts of a bygone era suffocated the room in stories untold. As their lanterns flickered to life, they cast long shadows on the walls, illuminating the secrets of their lineage. What if we find something about the children? Clara whispered, her voice trembling with anticipation. As they rummaged through the treasures of the past, they stumbled upon a weathered trunk, its lock rusted and stubborn. With persistence they pried it open, revealing a trove of dusty journals, each containing accounts detailing lives frozen in time, narratives neglected by the dark. Evelyn opened the first journal, its pages filled with the name of a child long lost. There was a girl named Lila, she lived in this house. Her voice quaked with disbelief. She disappeared in the late 1800s. Henry leaned closer, skimming through the words crafted beyond that se made to echo so many whispers. Look. Its sizer lauter faded after she made friends with Someone in the garden. An unsettling she settled around them, stirring memories of Clara's strange conversations and shadowy figures that had once filled the garden with life. What if those shadows are connected to Lila? To other children lost within the house, pondered aloud. The sense of unease was said over them, but Evelyn felt the urgency pulse within her. We have to keep reading. There must be a reason they come back. We have to find out what happened to them. Each turn of the page revealed more accounts, lost children ensnared by the intertwining fate of their family. With a very exhale, it became apparent, what had lingered in the shadows of their lives was not merely a collection of truths but a legacy earned via lineages steped in silence. Realizations unfolded, the shadows were not out to harm them, they were caging for remembrance and recognition. They desired an acknowledgement of lives once lived, a teter to their shared existence beyond the cloistered confines of forgotten memories. As they pieced together the remnants of forgotten laughter, the air thickened around them, saturated with the essence of those they sought to reclaim. Energized by the unfolding truths, they could no longer stand idly by, lost children needed their stories to find rest. With strength renewed, they understood there was a greater battle ahead, one that extended beyond their family's borders. This wasn't merely about reclaiming childhood. This was about setting free an entire demographic that carried the weight of lost hopes the spirits longing to be heard, waiting in the ocean of shadows swirling under the domains of the Whitmore family. Chapter 5 The Ride and Percent Reckoning. With newfound clarity, the Whitmore children returned to the living room, resolved to confront their anxious parents armed with the truths they had unearthed. The air crackled with urgency, they felt as if standing on the precipice of a wave about to crash. Evelyn took a deep breath and faced her motor. We found the journals, stories about children, Lila and others who once lived here. They're trapped in the shadows, and we can't let it continue any longer. Concern crossed Margaret's features as she exchanged glances with Charles, was the manner shifted, anxiety etched in the lines of his forehead. What do you mean, trapped? Where are these children? He asked, caution thinking his words. They are lost to the world's tea, Henry interjected. Lila disappeared but we need to reach out for help. We can't just ignore what's lurking within our home. Margaret took a step forward, her heart racing at the revelations. We need to do something about this, what can we do? We must go to the authorities. They will listen. If we don't act, we risk losing more than just our family, Evelyn insisted, each determination echoing with urgency. The atmosphere thickened as the weight of their words captured the quiet strength that lay hidden beneath layers of familial hesitation. We need to show them what we've found, Clara added softly, her innocence mingling with bravery. Te familj kikli mobilised, ter connection binding tig ter tan everas te prepared to fase te trute adon. In tose moments, te transformed from a family engulfed, bifear into a unified force wishing to confront te past left shrouded in darkness. When te officers arrived te following die, te Whitmore Mansión stood quiet, draped in te light of early down. Ruthlessly te children recounted their tales, each word revealing a tapestry woven with loss and longing, shadows that needed validation. Ereare te journals, evel inside, trusting them into officer Mark's hands, te the tal lives climbed by silence and darkness. The children te ere, waiting for Someone to acknowledge them. The officers exchanged glances, the weight of disbelief still lingering in the air, but they resolved the pened as they began to comprehend the gravity of the situation. They made their way toward the cellar, ready to confront the remnants of those long forgotten. As the door cracked open, the looming shadows unlike specters on the threshold. Light poured down with flickering lanterns illuminating the deep recesses of the basement, revealing those secrets buried within the upper layers. Ello, officer Marks called out into the darkness, is añone tere. With fervent anticipation, the children stepped closer, heartbeats kicking as the shadows responded. Voices filtered into the room a haunting melody, blending with the echoes of memories long silenced. From the darkness, children emerged ethereal and fragile, faces curious and filled with a yearning for recognition. The sight sent tremor stroked the room, the realization crashing upon them with waves of emotion. El pus, on a child cried, desperation double rapid inverisillable. Evelyn's heart broke with the open as sheveled bot anguish and opened the children's eyes. The officer stepped forward, slowly reaching out, echoing their promise to bring freedom a pledge to give voice to those lost. With each connection formed, with each name spoken, the veil of darkness began to lift, exposing not just lost souls but the weight of a community rooted in collective grief. The power of acknowledgement blossomed like spring flowers breaking through winter's harsh grasp. It became a reckoning, a reclamation of stories long neglected. The town of Grendale would bear witness to its inheritance, no longer masks concealing the pain, no longer stories buried for generations. Instead, it transformed into souls intertwined, each yearning for validation, healing and recognition. Chapter 6 Legacy and Percent Reflection. As the echoes of the past reverberated through the streets of Grendale, the Whitmore children, no empowered and united with the past, found themselves tasked with a profound responsibility. The depths of liberation transformed not only their lives but the very fabric of the town, unveiling the necessity for change and healing. With the children freed from the shadows, their resilience inspired the entire community. Memorial gatherings began to take shape, dedicated to acknowledging the lives once lost, weaving together declarations of remembrance and hope. The once gloomy are swayed with new energy a promise that their stories would not fade into insignificance. Evelyn talked the lead alongside their siblings, opening the doors of Whitmore Mansion to the community, transforming the once haunted eyes into a sanctuary for dialogue, a place where every voice could find its echo. Let each child be remembered, she implored during one of the many gatherings. We share burdens, no one should carry their pain alone. The community rallied, forming discussion groups meant to fortify connections within their neighborhoods. Each voice uplifted by the collective weight of loss found freedom in sharing, breaking the chains of isolation that sought to imprison them. Clara became a beacon of youthful hope, inspiring generations to embrace their emotions and herald the reach to love and be free from fear. Years passed, and the once ajowed eyes of the Whitmore Mansion thrived with the laughter of children their joyful sons speaking into the sunlit gardens, previously cloaked in darkness. Memorials honoring lost children were erected in the town square, displaying brave hearts alongside the loving inscriptions, nurturing a promise to carry their memories forth. As Evelyn stood at those memorials, she often reflected upon the journey they undertook, the shadows that once haunted them, now transformed into light radiating within Grendale. We were never meant to walk alone, she would whisper softly, feeling the weight of a very story intertwined with the fabric of their own lives. In the years to come, Grendale became synonymous with change. The recovery from buried trauma morphed into a legacy rich with understanding and love, a sacred bond birthed from overcoming the shadows that had sought to consume them. Because what is being the perfect smile can, indeed, be the darkest secret of all, but from that darkness, a flicker of hope can rise and shine bring the note to illuminate the world. Chapter 1 The Town and Percent the Perfect Facade. Aste summersum slipped into the golden west of autumn, grendale don neda picturesque coat of orange and red. The town was full of life, with families enjoying their evening stroys, lauter rippling through the air. Yet in the shadows of the Whitmore mansion, a storm was brewing, unse the townsfolk more focused on the perfect lives they led. Inside the mansion, the Whitmore family felt the facade of an old. Charles the Patriarch was a respected member of the community and a successful businessman, while Margaret the Matriarch was known for her philanthropic work. Their three children, Evelyn, Henry, and the youngest, Clara, seemed to embody the ideals of family happiness. However, whispers of disquiet flitted through the neighborhood. Neighbors smiled politely at one another, but their eyes often glossed over the peculiarities at the Whitmore place. Evelyn, the eldest daughter, had recently retreated into herself, her vibrant energy slowly eclipsed by shadows of anxiety. Henry, once an ambitious boy, now seemed lost in his thoughts, withdrawn and distant. Clara, sweet Clara, spent hours tending to imaginary friends in the garden, her laughter a ghostly echo of what it once was. The mansion, with its grand staircases and ornate decor, acted as a labyrinth for the Whitmore children, transforming into a prison of their perfect lives. Each room held the weight of expectations, shining chandeliers throwing light onto policed surfaces that mirrored neither joy nor grief. And the children, they grew more separate, drifting into corners haunted by unspoken fears. As the days turned into weeks, signs of tension manifested in small ways. Sudden outbursts of frustration, used conversations, and lingering stares through crackling windows into the garden. The houses seemed to tighten around them, its wise bearing witness to secrets long suppressed. On a gloomy evening, Evelyn overheard a conversation between her parents, their used tones cementing the anxiety she felt in her chest. They can't keep withdrawing, Charles. It's not normal, Margaret's voice carried a tremor of desperation that echoed silently throughout the home. They had just, Margaret. They're simply figuring things out, Charles replied dismissively, but the worry lasted through his words was palpable. Evelyn felt tears well in her eyes as she dropped, realizing that they were struggling, yet no one dared to address it. The barriers of communication grew taller, enforced by fear and misunderstanding. No one acknowledged the darkness encroaching upon their family, and the perfect facade they tried to maintain began to crumble. Meanwhile, Clara spent more time in the garden, conversing with her imaginary companions. The gentle breeze whispered through the trees, and the flowers swayed, listening intently. Though they were no longer just plants, they held secrets she could decipher, secrets about laughter and memories shared by those who had lived before. Who are they? Evelyn finally asked on a day, her curiosity driving her to confront Clara. They're my friends, and they don't want to be forgotten, Clara replied, her with the eyes earnest. There was an unmistakable intensity in her gaze, as if she were grasping something profound just beyond reach. But to Evelyn, the conversation evoked a sense of dread as she contemplated the implications of her sister's words. What were these imaginary friends? And WHY did Clara keep returning to the shadows of her own making. That fall, rumors began swirling around the town like leaves caught in wind currents. The Whitmore family, once a symbol of suburban perfection, became the subject of used conversations, whispers reverberating from window to window. The tales of lost laughter and children's aching, solace in shadows painted a picture of a family unraveling. Yet the town chose to look away. After all, what would that pale back the layers of a seemingly perfect existence? As leaves blew and summers passed, giltun like a storm cloud over Grendale, a tempest waiting to erupt. Chapter 2. The cracks appear. Autumnus ered in a new kind of chill, the kind that crept under skin and settled deep into bones. The Whitmore old, once vibrant with laughter, became an echo chamber of silence. Evelyn became acutely aware of the growing divide within her family, a fracture birthed from unwillingness to confront the haunting shadows beneath their glossy surface. Despite their social obligations, family dinners felt increasingly strained. Evelyn noticed Clara would leave the table early, retreating to the shadows with a wistful longing. On one particular evening, she overheard Clara whispering to the curtains, her teeny hands cradling herself in the manner of a comforting embrace. Later Evelyn saw her brother Henry always close by. Have you talked to Clara? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. She seems different. Henry sighed, his expression clouded, that's putting it lightly. I've seen her wandering the garden, talking to something. I don't know, Evie. It's unnerving. Evelyn nodded I abi waked pugging at insides. What if tose shadows are real? She suggested te tout lingering like agost. What if teire sometting todo with our family? Yo mean secrets. What cold we have tat stat deep? Henry replied, dismissing the notion but deep down, et to felt a flicker of uncertainty. On afternoon, Evelyn decided to confront their moter about the newfound anxiety stat permeated their home. Mom, when ed to talk about Clara, she began gently. I'm worried about her. She talks daughters. Margaret's face paled slightly, concerned taking root. Children have vivid imagination, sweet art. It's nothing to worry about, she insisted, her voice carrying an edge of dismissal. But Evelyn couldn't shake the discomfort pulling in her stomach. But what if it's more than just imagination? Yet Margaret se made unable to comprehend, bruising off her daughter's fears into the airless corners of the house. The notion again vague yet distinct. Uncertainty coiled the pair, tightening like an unrelenting vice. As Clara's imaginary companions took hold, the family began to shift. Friends mentioned their concern, and whispers grew in the tone over the Whitmore children. WHY are they so different? MRS. Thompson mused Wille washing her laundry. It's almost as if they are harboring dark secrets. Dice turned into weeks, and the strain between the children and their parents depended. Evelyn often caught Henry stolen glances at Clara, worry swimming in the depths of his gaze. Conversations grew fewer and vulnerabilities unaddressed. The non fateful evening, during a gathering at the Whitmore home, the facade began to fracture. The laughter of adults masked the underlying tension around the dinner table, but Clara's absence became increasingly conspicuous. When Margaret finally realized Clara was missing, her heart sank. Where is Clara? She exclaimed aloud, glancing toward the door as panic settled like snow upon their spirits. Evelyn excused herself to search for her sister, her heart racing as she darted through the corridors. Clara, she called, desperation rising. When she found her alone in the garden, whispering to what seemed to be shadows strewn across the ground, alarm coursed through Evelyn. Clara, it's time to come inside, she urged, attempting to reel her sister back into reality. But Clara turned icy bright yet distant. Teire sa devie, she replied earnestly, they want to play. The weight of Clara's words settled upon Evelyn, transforming her dread into something more poignant. What does that mean? Who wants to play? Maybe they want me to be with them, Clara whispered, looking back at the shadows that flickered into the inlight. Evelyn's heart felt like it had been wrenched from her chest. No. You can't go, she begged, confrontation and panic entwined in her voice. They're not real. They're just shadows. As Evelyn reached for Clara, she felt a chi surge through her fingertips, a sensation that moved past skin, burrowing deep within her. Clara stood firm, her gaze unwavering. You don't understand. They're scared too. With those words, the tension crescendoed. The release had been built up, unspoken fears blossoming into a torrent of realization. Clara's involvement with the shadows reflected not imagination, but the upsetted truths too fragile to address. Evelyn could no longer ignore the darkness that had blurred the lines of their family, their world woven with stories buried there. The following days became an uphill battle. The family danced around the growing unrest, pushing down fears that clawed against their resolve. But the seeds of unease had taken root, and the realities they had buried threatened to surface. So it was that on evening, as a cheese settled over Grendale, the Whitmore children prepared to face the shadows that lingered among them. Pledging to confront the truths that haunted their home, they bonded together, determined to salvage what remained of their unity before it was consumed. Chapter 4 The Truth Uncovered. The weight of winter pressed heavily against the Whitmore mansion as the children forged a pact in whispered tones, firming their resolve to confront the darkness that encircled them. They found a familiar sense of comfort in another, wavering against the backdrop of mounting tension and unaddressed fears. In the depths of the house, they decided to turn their focus toward the attic, an unexplored cavern laden with relics of the past. This is where the secrets lie, Evelyn proposed, leading her siblings up the creaking stairs, a hecho reverberating like a heartbeat against the walls. As they reached the attic door, Clara sankivered against the canob, her heart pounding in synchronized her rhythm with the others. What if we find something bad? Then we face it together, Evelyn promised, as the resolve igniting within her chest. With a gentle push, the door cracked open, unveiling a trove of forgotten memories, dusty trunks and remnants of childhood lingered within the uninhibited confines. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and past lives. Boxes upon boxes el relics buried under layers of neglect, a compendium of lives intertwined with tears. Let's say what's it then, Henry encouraged, stepping cautiously inside. They began sifting through the artifacts, objects long thought abandoned revealed themselves. With each trinket uncovered, a glimmers of memory sparked, yet awake settled in the pit of their stomach. As they dug deeper, they stumbled upon a weathered journal, a veritable testament to secrets long forgotten. Ere Evelyn beamed waving the book before them. She wiped the dust from its cover and cradled it in her hands art racing, let's say what it says. The pages unfurled to reveal the handwriting of a child, penned with innocent longing, Lila was ere. Mama always tried to stay away from the shadows, but I can't hear them, wanting me to play. As Evelyn read the words, an unsettling realization was said over her. Is this what Clara has been saying? She breathed, eyes with the gravity of the discovery. Clara leaned in closer, taking in the words, she played with them too. Just like though, she echoed softly, fear creeping into her voice. Henry's brow furrowed as he leaned over, scanning more entries. It sounds like Lila disappeared because she was lost in the dark. His voice quivered, the revelation knitting itself into their understanding of what lingered beyond their grasp. With each turn of the page, more stories unveiled themselves, accounts of laughter silenced, friendships forget with shadows, children lost under the very roof they now lived beneath. The realization struck like a bolt of lightning as they shared glances of fear-ridden recognition. Their family's history had mingled with those long forgotten, entwining lives that shouldn't have been lost to time. This also, Evelyn whispered, understanding Downing, it carries their pain. They need us to remember. As Clara clutched her sister's arm, a new resolve blossomed among them, a determination to connect with ghosts once neglected, to share their stories and bring solace to those lingering in the shadows. But they needed to confront what had ensnared their family along the fear that had chained their hearts. With strongholds of identity caught in limbo, the siblings vowed to honor Lila's memory, to bridge the gap between past and present. It wasn't just about the oath. It had become a call to action, a mission treated with the hope of redemption, not just for themselves but for a very child who had ever felt invisible. With a fierce commitment, Evelyn proposed their next steps, a plan to reclaim their voice and invite others to bear witness. They would confront their parents, unearthing truths that had resided within the whispering shadows for too long. Chapter 5 The Ride and Percent Reckoning. The following day succeeded in a notable happiness, as the Whitmore children prepared for the challenge ahead. Evelyn led her siblings in an unexpected confrontation, determined to speak their truths while bracing themselves for a reaction they feared no longer. On a rainy evening, filled with tension, they gathered their courage and approached their parents. Mom, Dad, Henry began, the weight of emotion trembling in his voice, when he had to talk to you about what we found in the attic. Charles looked up from his newspaper, a brows knitting together in confusion. What is it? There are children in the house, Evelyn blurted out, each word fading heavily among them. They never got to live. We found their stories, they trapped because they aren't remembered. Margaret exchanged uneasy glances with Charles, disbelieved shed across her features. This isn't the time for games, kids. You shouldn't be playing in that all that thick. Evelyn took a deep breath, her heart pounded in her chest. No. It's not a game. If we don't do something, we risk losing more than just memories. We need to help them. But oh, Margaret whispered, the fracture in her heart revealing itself through her voice. What are we supposed to do? We need to call in the authorities. They will listen, Evelyn pleaded, desperation igniting a fear within her. We can't ignore the children's stories any longer. As the discussion unfolded, tension heightened amid their family dynamic, revealing uncertainties that couldn't be easily dismissed. Where once the family adds to united, a chasm formed, a deep divide separating hopes from collective affairs, truths from the policed surfaces they so carefully constructed. And in the end, Charles conceded, recognizing the unyielding determination in their children's gases. With Jesus sounding words filled with somber resilience, he agreed, they would reach out for help. Until the authorities arrived, the mansion seemed to exhale a breath long held, shadows flickering nervously as they prepared to face the specters of their past. Officers filtered through the grand arches under the weight of anticipation, while the children flanked their parents, their hearts pounding like a symphony of apprehension. Led by Officer Marks, they climbed the staircase toward the attic, arriving at the door where dusty memories awaited. Te airuntic wit fulfillet dreams, each child spirit silently yearning for validation and recognition. If we find dañone ere, wellen sure teire safe, officer marks as sured, is voices te adi butting head with uncertainty. Let's say what we've got. With the choice of their past beckoning, the door cracked open, revealing a trove of artifacts long buried. Antere in the glow of the lantern lights, the whispers come alive, lauter turning into distant cries for help. Mi name is Lila, floated a voice through the air, accompanied by the flickering shadows that shimmered in the corners of the attic. Webe ben whiting elpus find peace. As the officers moved cautiously among the remnants of lost lives, the children watched from the threshold, their breaths caught in anticipation. The realization that they were not alone seeped between the wise, merging with the tapestry of their lives, their worlds converging as they danced closer to reclaim their story. With a renewed sense of purpose, the officers began gathering the stories, piecing together the names and memories intertwined. One, they drew out the threads of truth from layers once hidden, looking to give voice to those who had long been silenced. As names were spoken, as lives were coaxed from the shadows, the airs mingled with the memories of children lost, ghosts finally confronting their makers, forever entwining the past with the present, shaping the very fabric of Grendale. The stories surged forth, echoing through the corridors of time as new connections blossomed, HPH race infused with the strength of reclaiming lives once extinguished. The atmosphere thickened, saturated with the promise of healing, restoration and remembrance. It enveloped them all, we having to heter the kilting of their shared stories, bound in solidarity against the shadows that sought to strip away their transparency. In a single moment, the choice of laughter mingled with the cries of celebration, and uprising against despair, uniting lost children with their newfound families. The boundaries that had separated them dissolved, and the broken exchange of words revived spirits long overlooked. Chapter 6 Legacy and Percent Reflection. As spring approached and the bitter cold of winters softened, Grendale and the Whitmore family began to mend the tears caused by forgotten stories. The children, once ensnared in shadows, emerged as champions of change, quiet advocates for those whose voices had been silenced, bridging the divide between the world of the living and those lost to darkness. The townspeople gathered to honor the children they had lost, creating a memorial at the edge of the park flower stones, and the heartfelt notes intertwined to celebrate the lives that had once flickered within the confines of silence. Erelies Lila, readone note, remembered always. Each family shared their experiences, unearthing truths once hidden beneath layers of shame and fear. The children who had wandered the highways of Whitmore Mansión were finally given their chance to be seen, their stories flowing freely like endless streams mingling into a larger river. Evelyn Henry and Clara led the charge, inspired to nurture a new ethos in Grendale, on where children felt safe to share their fears and dreams. Westan for those who could not, Evelyn declared during one of the many gatherings at the Mansión, no a sanctuary for dialogue. It's our duty to ensure no one else feels the weight of silence again. In the wake of their progress, laws began to change, and initiatives for mental e health awareness blossomed within the community. Parents pledged to foster an environment where conversations about fears and struggles became the norm. Town transformed into open forums, where whispers turned to conversations and solitude resaped into solidarity. In the years that followed, the Whitmore Mansion thrived anew. Daughters pilled from its open doors as children filled the gardens, racing through sunlit paths where shadows previously lurked. Flora blossomed in every corner, a symbol of rebirth beauty transforming despair. As Evelyn now fully grown, walked through the gardens, she reflected upon the ornate undertook, the courage it took to forge ahead, to reclaim what had long been lost. Her heart swayed as she realized their battle was not confined to four walls. It resonated through the entire community, radiating love and connection. The shadows that once haunted their family transformed into lessons imprinted in their hearts, a legacy forged in bravery and emboldened by love. Embracing uncertainty is no longer remained a burden, they became vessels of light, illuminating pathways for others. And as the sun dipped low and shadows stretched long across the manicured lawns of Grendale, a sense of tranquility enveloped the Whitmore family. They stood together hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held together. Because what ides being a perfect smile, can be the darkest secret of all, but in breaking the silence, they had learned to cherish each moment of light amid shadows. Each smile now echoed the laughter of lost souls transformed into memories of triumph, never forgotten, but remembered always. Te sun rose brightly over grendale, painting te skin west of pink and gold, te promise of aneuda stretching before te Whitmore family. Spring ad become a time of renewal, ante long shadows that once darkened their lives ad reseded. Evelyn stod in te garden, feeling te warmth of te sun on her face. Te arbuzed with life, an lautere choedas children played ne arbi, ter innocent hoia stark contrast to te silence tat once filled tes espaces. She felt proud of the community they had transformed to heter, a place where shadows faded and whispers turned into shared stories. Looking back at the mansion, now filled with colors and light, Evelyn reflected on their journey from darkness to illumination. The memories of Lila and Theoter's lingered, their spirits woven into the fabric of the town, reminding her of the importance of acknowledging lost voices. Clara da said past, lauter ringing like a melody. She was no longer the frightened hill was pocket of shadows. She had grown into a beacon of light, her imagination now a source of creativity and joy, on a that inspired theater children to se te beauty in sharing their dreams. Henry joined them a walking hand, ready for another round of storytelling, e asked a green lighting up his face. The children cheered, excited to gather around and the art tales of bravery, adventure and friendship. As they settled beneath the sprawling oak tree, Evelyn felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. This was the legacy they had fought for, a community alive with connection, a sanctuary where children could cultivate their dreams without fear, a place where every whisper, every story mattered. The sun dipped lower, batting the garden in a golden way, and as lauter filled the air, Evelyn closed her eyes for a moment, thanking the universe for the journey they had undertaken. It had not been easy, but together they had turned pain into purpose. The shadows that once loomed large had become a gentle reminder, a lesson woven into the very essence of Grendale. They had learned that bringing light into the darkness was not just a duty, it was a privilege. The very chills lauter that echoed in the wind was a promise sealed, an assurance that no one would ever be left to linger in the shadows again. In that united strength, they forged ahead into a future overflowing with hope, resilience and unyielding love.